So thank you very, very much for joining me here today to discuss our very exciting program, our certificate in UX design. We are the School of Continuing Studies at York University, and I wanted to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join Melanie and I here today. Hopefully she will get her audio issue sorted out before we get to her slide. But I did want to thank you again for joining us today. And I wanted to actually thank Melanie for taking the time out of her busy schedule as well. She is one of our esteemed instructors. She teaches our UX research course and will be co-facilitating this presentation with me today. So we can move on with the presentation. So in terms of our agenda for today, I will share some information on York University and the School of Continuing Studies for those that are not familiar with who we are and what we do. I will also share program information, of course, about our UX program. Melanie will talk a little bit about the job market. She'll talk about the courses that are in the program from the instructor perspective. And we will showcase who our instructors are. I'll talk a little bit about who the other instructors in the program are, and Melanie will talk about her experience and her background. I will talk about the program format and how we've developed the program in a blended learning format. We'll talk about the schedule. We'll talk, of course, about registration, and then we will have a Q&A at the very end. So for those that are not familiar with York University, we are the third largest institution, third largest university in Canada. We have world-class rankings, and we have a School of Continuing Studies, which was founded in 2015, which has very cutting-edge type programs. In terms of the university as a whole, we have 7,000 plus faculty and staff, 50,000 plus students. We also have lots of international students from 178 different countries. Now, this is a beautiful picture of our brand new School of Continuing Studies that is currently being built. It will be ready for occupancy in the fall of 2021. And we are located, it'll be at the corner of Ian McDonald Boulevard and Pond Road for those that know York University, but it is in the Keele and Steeles area. Now, the school will provide meaningful continuing ed opportunities, which combine guided instruction with practical application. So all of our programs are very, very practical in nature. All of our programs are designed to develop the well-rounded professional that employers value, that have both the deep discipline-based knowledge, so the technical skills in whatever discipline you're studying, and the broad skills that are required to communicate and be effective within a multidisciplinary team. So I'll talk a little bit more about the T-shaped professional later on in my presentation, but with a variety of options to suit your learning style and schedule, adding a recognized, respected credential such as a York University professional certificate has never really been more convenient. We just kind of wanted to show off our brand new building, and yeah, we're all very, very excited. So the next slide is about UX. So I'm going to turn that over to Melanie, and she'll talk to you a little bit about what UX design is.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, so some of you might be familiar with user experience already. We see it all day in our lives, like when something, I think it's more commonly found when there's something really frustrating that you go through. So like an email, or sorry, not an email, a website, or even like physical things too around us. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Norman doors, for example, but they're when you expect a door to be pulled, but it's actually pushed, and the way that you interact with it is because of the handle. So like the signal is telling you the wrong interaction. So user experience design is the process of enhancing satisfaction with a product. So for example, with this door, by improving the usability, accessibility, and desirability provided with the interaction with that product. It's the practice of designing products where the main focus of the design is placed on the user experience. So how people are actually using it, and not putting the onus on the individual to get things right, but rather the technology has to be suited to our needs. So having said that, our certificate in UX design covers all the core areas for career success. giving you the knowledge and expertise to do things like produce a portfolio of work, which is super important, especially when looking for a job, that effectively applies UX best practices and processes to meet business needs across multiple industries and product types. You also do things like evaluate and utilize relevant methodologies, such as design thinking, participatory design, and the Moscow methodology. You'll demonstrate best practices in visual design and system design, formulate user personas, explain how different design systems function and determine their appropriate usage, and demonstrate cross-functional skills such as teamwork, communication, problem solving, active listening, and storytelling, which are all very important once you get into the job market. And another thing too, of course, is you would conduct user experience research to gain a better understanding of what the problem space is before you start actually figuring out the solutions for it. Because I think user experience is more about understanding what the problem is before getting to the way to improve that problem. So the market demand for user experience designers is really great, actually. Employment in the area of UX is actually expected to remain strong as more organizations make the digital transformation to offer a seamless multi-channel experience, which makes sense. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever tried to return something throughout this pandemic, but I've noticed that it's been pretty challenging. And, you know, we'll probably just shift even more to digital commerce for sure. So there'll be more opportunities for at least that space amongst many others. Some statistics here are that according to a survey by Adobe of 500 managers and department heads working on UX design, 87% of managers said hiring more UX designers is the top priority for their organization, which is actually higher than the priority for hiring graphic designers, product managers, as well as software engineers. And 73% of managers said that they plan to double the number of UX designers in their organization in the next 5 years. So between 2015 and 2019 in the GTA, job postings in user experience have actually increased by 40%. That's quite a significant increase in jobs just within the GTA. So you might ask yourself, like, is this program right for me? Obviously, I think that's why a lot of you are here. I don't know, can you, oh, there, thank you. So there's many different reasons or people who should take this program. I think this is what's so great about continuing education is that it's really built for anybody. So some ideas could be people who are looking for a career change or to start something totally new. New and aspiring managers, so people who might already work in the tech field but want to get more familiar with what UX is. Professionals who want to develop foundational business admin skills. Professionals interested in future leadership roles within their organization. And user experience design is a great career option for people from a variety of industries. Even where I work now, there's no like clear path to get into UX, which is really interesting. And I think that's what makes our field so great is that it is very multidisciplinary, and there's people from all over their different backgrounds who come to UX, and it makes sense because we're building products for people and everyone has such a different story, right? So the more variety, I think the better the industry does. The certificate in UX design is ideal for anyone who currently works in a creative field, like graphic or web design or web development, because there is some components of doing some visual design. People in strategic client-facing roles also would benefit, such as product managers or project managers. Strategists and consultants are also a great fit. So this program can enhance the careers of people with experience in who are creative professionals, so primarily graphic designers. I know a lot of people who made the switch from graphic design into UX design, who want to, you know, get more of a strategic role rather than focusing totally on like the visual sense. For product managers, they are people who are managers for digital products, so software as a service enterprise software, for example, or game design, but who want to better understand UX to help with their job as a product manager. It's also great for people who are experienced in strategy or consultancy, so client-facing work. And these would be people who manage, who work in management consulting roles, helping clients with digital transformation which I think is happening all over the place right now. They're looking for professional development to better understand UX processes so that they can better help with clients' needs assessments and leveraging internal resources for project delivery. And lastly, another person that this program would be great for are people who are already web developers. So people who are on the front end or full stack side of development. And they're working closely with the UX team already. Their motivation could be professional development to understand the UX process better and to help them just do their job better as well. Or maybe they're interested in getting into design instead of development as well.
Okay, terrific. Thanks so much, Melanie. We'll move on to the next slide. I'll take this slide. And this is about uniqueness of our School of Continuing Studies program and why choose York University's User Experience Design program. Now, if you start, I have this table here on the screen, and it deals with all of the features, the advantages, and the benefits. And I'd like to just kind of go through these really quickly with you. But one of the features of our program and why you should choose us is because we have a blended offering. It's very flexible. And this blended option actually allows students to balance priorities. Now, what I mean by the blended offering is that the majority of the time you will be online, fully online, asynchronous, but there are two live online components to the program, one at the beginning of the course and one at the end of each course, okay? I'll talk a little bit more about the schedule later on, but again, it's condensed. So aside from being blended, it's also condensed. It's shorter than many other programs that are offered in this sector. And the benefit of that is that it'll strengthen and validate your skill set within an 8-month period. So within 8 months, you can complete all 4 courses that are part of this program. Another unique aspect is that it's a cohort. And so what that means is that you're progressing through the program with the same group of people from start to end. That means that when you purchase the UX program, you're purchasing the entire program, all 4 courses, and you'll be moving through the program with the same group of people. This, of course, a benefit, it has stability in scheduling. It means that all 4 courses will definitely be offered and available for you. The curriculum, the way we've designed the program, the curriculum flows logically from one course to the next. You have a lot of opportunities to build connections, both within the peer group as well as through instructors, as well as having lots of opportunities to engage with guest speakers in the program. So lots of our instructors invite guest speakers to come into the program to talk about various topics that are hot in the industry. We also have a program that has been developed by industry experts. So we have a program advisory council that oversees this program to ensure that we are meeting and covering all the key knowledge in UX and all the skills areas through real world projects. So this program, very, very hands-on, very practical in nature. And of course, the benefit to this is because the student will remain current, the program remains current, it's all relevant content that is delivered to students through ongoing program improvements and curriculum updates. And lastly, all of our instructors are from industry. Now, Melanie is going to talk a little bit about her background and what she does for a living. But aside from Melanie, the other instructors in the program, all of them work in industry. None of them are academics or professors that are, their full-time job is actually working as senior UX designers or senior UX researchers. This is an advantage is because they can take, examples from real life and actually bring them into the classroom. And it helps students make really real connections and helps us stay current, helps our program stay current in the field. Now, as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the presentation about the T-shaped professional, now the T-shaped professional is a goal that we have for every single program that the School of Continuing Studies offers, even aside from UX. All of our programs are built to produce graduates who can, master some of the really integral soft skills for their specific industry. So when we met with our program advisory council, they indicated that the gaps, when they were looking at new hires for their organizations, the gaps that they were missing, right? The gaps that they were seeing were missing from the soft skills were logic and problem solving, primary research, active listening, strategic thinking, and emotional and social intelligence. So these are very, very important skills that actually go at the top of the T. So the bottom of the T are the technical skills that you're going to learn in UX, which will be part of the program. But we will also integrate all these cross-functional skills into the program as well. Now I'll turn it back over to Melanie, who can talk about the program and the courses and what each course includes.
Cool. Yeah, so there are 4 courses, and as Marina mentioned, they're all done like in this order with intention, and you're going to be with the same students throughout the 4 courses, which is great. So the first course is Fundamentals of UX Design. So as the name implies, it's getting like the foundation of what UX design is. And here you'll learn about that. UX design is the theory and practice of designing an emergent experience by carefully selecting and synchronizing intersection points between a human experience and a technological system. As I mentioned, like similar to that door. So like the human experience of pushing or pulling and the technological system of how that door actually operates. In this course, you'll get an overview of the wide range of disciplines involved in theory and practices of user experience design and learn to explain their interactions. You'll also gain foundational knowledge required to successfully complete the remaining 3 practical courses in the program. So the other 3 are UX design research, which is the course that I instruct sometimes. So here you learn how to conduct, synthesize, and share qualitative research with design and product teams. You'll tackle the differences between quantitative and qualitative research and cover a variety of common research methods used within product and agency environments. You also gain hands-on experience with research plans, so actually writing your own plans, discussion guides, and conducting user interviews, which is super valuable. In addition, you'll learn how to synthesize all these findings and develop themes and strategic direction that emerge from the data and practice sharing these findings in a written and oral format. So the third course is visual design, wireframing, and prototyping. So this, I think, as the name implies also, is getting more into the actual tactical work that a UX designer does. So you'll gain an understanding of the full spectrum of creating various wireframe fidelities, mocks, and design validating artifacts. Using a collaborative approach, you'll practice how to translate ideas and preliminary concepts into meaningful user interfaces to support business goals and user needs. You'll learn the fundamental principles and theories and gain hands-on experience with industry standards for visual design, interactive design, and usability testing methodologies as well. You'll also learn techniques on how to get participants' feedback from prototyping to develop and leverage design solutions according to insights and data collected. Lastly, this is where you'll also learn design systems and establish a strategy by cataloging design assets and components into a universal ecosystem. So you've probably heard the term design system. It's very popular nowadays, and it's just a great thing to learn to make your work more efficient. And lastly, in the applied UX design course, this is this is where you'll investigate the practical aspects of innovation and how design tools and methods can be used to deploy a viable product or solution. Design processes and techniques will be put into practice through various applied projects in this course, and you'll actually present your design concepts verbally as well as visually at a professional level. You'll evaluate a product for consumer insights, mechanical UX features, market context, and design aesthetics, and present these new concepts as realized through the design or innovation process. In this course too, there will be a final presentation that will be created by you, and it'll include, but not be limited to, drawings, marking materials, sketches, models, and finished solutions for a real-life industry partner. So in the last course, we have integrated experiential learning into the program that allows our students to bring their work experience to life. So students will be put into small groups to work on an industry project with a real employer, which will equip them with work-ready skills. So you'll actually work with a company or an individual on a project that they need to be completed by a UX designer. The project is real, and it's facilitated by the instructor, who interviews potential employers to ensure that their projects are a good fit for the students. After shortlisting and interviewing potential employers, the instructor then assigns the groups to work on the various projects. So we collaborate with a company called Ripon, and Ripon helps students connect and engage with employers through authentic project-based experiences. So be prepared for this major assessment in the fourth course. And this is critical because students will then have a portfolio to show a prospective employer, which, as I mentioned, is really valuable once you finish the course and you're looking for your new role.
Okay, great. Okay, we're going to turn to instructor expertise, and I'll talk a little bit about the other instructors, and then I'll leave Melanie. She can tell you a little bit more about herself. So our first course is taught by Carmen, and he's been a designer and researcher and teacher for more than a decade. He's got lots of degrees. He's got a degree in computer science, and he has a PhD in industrial engineering. He went on to become a professor of Centennial, where he led several applied research projects, including Magnus Mode and mixed reality mobile game. He then left the world of academia and he went into the financial industry, then went to RBC and Orbit Group. And I know that now he has since left Orbit Group and is working for Loblaw Digital currently. And we have two instructors that teach the UX design research course. We have Alicia and then Melanie. Alicia, for the past 8 years, has been using research, design, and strategy to help some of Canada's biggest brands in Canada and beyond, creating experiences that focus on people. She is especially focused on how design thinking can create both social change while having a positive impact on business. Today, she's applying her experiences and philosophy to her role as a senior designer at Shopify. She is also the founder of Side by Side Collective, an organization that affects change within the design industry by providing women, agender, and non-binary designers and technologists with goal-oriented mentorship and support. And so I'll leave Melanie to introduce herself.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, so Alicia actually is a coworker of mine. I started my research career in academia, so I went to school for psychology, so I did an undergrad in psychology at Western University. And then after that, I took a couple of years off and was trying to find my way into the tech industry with some sort of focus on design. So then I heard about human-computer interaction, and I went on and did a master's in that at Carleton University. And it was there where I obviously learned a lot about UX research, and then decided, okay, this is the best combination of psychology, design, and technology. So UX research was something that I was pursuing pretty much that's why I went to do my HCI degree. So after that, I did a co-op in human factors, and I worked on flight simulators for a company called CAE. They're based in Montreal. And then after that, I realized I wanted to get into more consumer technology. So I actually lived and worked abroad in Italy for a little bit and worked at an agency there for a little while. And then I came back and worked at Kobo, the company that makes e-readers, and then shortly after joined Shopify, and I've been there for almost 3 years now. So yeah, right now I'm a senior researcher at Shopify, and yeah, I love doing user experience research, and I hope that if you take the course that you'll also find an appreciation for it, because I think UX design is always really at the forefront, but the best designers are also those that do research as well.
Terrific, thank you. And then lastly, we have, second last, sorry, we have Philippe. He teaches the visual design, wireframing, and prototyping course. And I believe he's got tons of experience. He teaches also on the degree side at York University in the School of Fine Arts. I know that they just recently changed their name, but it used to be called the School of Fine Arts when I was a York University student. And I know he teaches in the design department there. He teaches for us as well. And I think he also works at Shopify as well. So we've got 3 people who work at Shopify that are teaching in this program, which I think is totally awesome. And then we have the 4th course, last but not least, is Rahim, and he teaches the applied course, which is the capstone type course that Melanie was reviewing earlier. He also has lots of experience in this sector. He pursued an MBA in design strategy from California College of the Arts and had an opportunity to work for companies like Umbra, Technion, California Innovations, Fuse Project, Samsung Code, and Theory as a design strategist, UX designer, and design researcher. And so he's the one that actually is responsible for liaising with all of the employers for the fourth course. And he's the one that created and developed the portfolio type assignment and shortlisting all of the organizations to make sure that they're a good fit for our students. So moving on to York's blended format, we know that finding time for continuing education, it's not easy. So we're trying to make it easier for those that are working professionals and even those that are still looking for a job by offering a program that works around your commitments. So the Certificate in User Experience Design, it's an 8-month part-time program. It's taken mostly online. You'll meet with your instructor and your peers live at the beginning and the end of each course. So what that means is that for the duration of the program over the 8 months, you have 8 Saturdays or 8 Sundays in total. So we alternate between Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes in the fall, they're offered on Saturdays. In the winter program, they're offered on Sundays, but it's just one, either a Saturday or a Sunday at the beginning and at the end of each course for a total of 8. This innovative model, it combines the benefits of online study with intensive in-class time, live online time, reducing your commitment to traveling to campus while supporting your learning and your peer collaboration. Now, moving on to this next slide, I wanted to let you know that throughout the program, we try to offer events and workshops that make the student experience more successful. For example, we have a connection and a collaboration with 10,000 Coffees, which makes, and I don't know if anyone knows what 10,000 Coffees is, but it makes data-driven connections between colleagues. It's an AI platform that makes data-driven connections between colleagues over virtual coffee chats. And we have a partnership with RBC, so that's why we're able to do this for our students. Students can sign up and artificial intelligence will match them with an industry professional to connect with over a virtual coffee. So this is really good for networking. And so I would highly recommend that if you register for the program and you're interested in networking and that you would take advantage of the 10,000 Coffees. We also provide on the screen, we have Ripen, which Melanie mentioned in the fourth course. Sometimes we have panel discussions. Some of our instructors bring in guest speakers. We actually have a full day Excel training. If there's anyone that wants to know how to use Excel from a beginner to an advanced level, we offer that free of charge as well. And then we have Innovation York, and I wanted to also talk a little bit about Innovation York. This is an entrepreneurship initiative. It is extra, so it's not part of the program, but students have an opportunity to actually apply if they're interested in becoming entrepreneurs in this area of UX. So if you're interested in exploring the world of entrepreneurship, if you have an idea that you know would make a great business venture, you can turn that idea into reality with Innovation York's Entrepreneurship Initiative. It's an extra 6 months. So again, I just want to be clear, it's outside of this program. You would be taking this outside after you finish the program. It's a 6-month entrepreneurship initiative. It's open to School of Continuing Studies students and recent graduates as an extracurricular opportunity that will enhance and complement your existing certificate program. The opportunity helps students validate their business concept, to learn key entrepreneurship theories, receive valuable coaching support, and overcome the barriers of starting a business. So students participating in this initiative also join a community of like-minded self-starters. Now, how does it work? It's administered and managed through Innovation York at York University. This initiative provides programming, workshops, and space to help student entrepreneurs who wish to launch and scale their startup ventures. Work and activities related to this initiative is conducted outside of the School of Continuing Studies programs and is for development purposes only. So there is an added cost. On top of this, there's a cost of $1,200 for this 6-month program if you're interested in this stream. By enrolling, students are committing to dedicate a minimum of 5 to 8 hours a week for the next 6 months to build, validate, and launch their business. And this time commitment would be, again, additional to the certificate coursework if you want to do it concurrently. So you have an option of doing it concurrently, or you can wait until you're done the certificate in UX design, finish it off, and then you can do the entrepreneurship stream. They provide all the training. So you go through a 2-part ideation sprint. They'll do all the entrepreneurship training with you. They'll provide mentorship and coaching. And again, it's an awesome opportunity if you have an idea of a product that you want to get off into the market and you need some help doing it. Okay. Now, in terms of the next offering for the certificate in UX design, we do have a program that starts in January. Registration is currently open. We are accepting registrations. You can go directly to our website at continue.yorku.ca and register from our program. And the full program fee is $43.96. What this includes is all 4 courses in the program. It does not include books, but we do not have, this program itself is not high, it's not heavy on books. In the first course, there are a few books that you're required to purchase, but, and Melanie can tell you in the second course, Melanie, I don't think you have any textbooks at all, right?
We do have some. They're not textbooks, but they're just like, yeah, but they're not like, you know, typical university, like $150 books.
Perfect. Exactly. Thank you. So again, the total program fee is $43.96. And now if you need to contact the School of Continuing Studies, our website again, continue.yorku.ca. We have a continuing studies advisor. We have a few advisors, but Michael Kusiba is UX design is in his portfolio. So if you'd like to talk to Mike about any other questions that might not get answered during this call, please email him at continue@yorku.ca. If you're already registered, please, and you have any registration information, like you require any information or you have questions about registration, please email our reg team at regscs@yorku.ca. And our Twitter handle is at continue_yorku. Our office hours are 8:30 to 4:30, and we are doing online and telephone advising appointments. So Mike is booking appointments if you have any further questions. So that takes us to the end of the presentation. And now Melanie and I are available for questions if you have any. So let me just take a look at the question box and I could read out some of these questions. Okay, I work full-time. Can I take this course part-time and online? Yes, absolutely. It's blended and it's been designed for people just like you. Let's see. How can we better prepare for this program before the program starts in January? What tools should we familiarize ourselves with, or will all of this be taught in the program? Melanie, did you want to maybe talk about what they might want to do before, like just to prep? Because, you know, everything is going to be taught in the program. So there's really no prep that I think needs to be done, but maybe, you know, maybe you can provide some other insight, maybe some publications to read or.
Yeah, I think I believe in the course you would use InVision, which is the tool for designing. So if you wanted to like read some documentation on that or watch some videos on how to use the tool, then I mean it would just help you, you know, be more prepared than not prior. But as Marina mentioned, like you'd be learning all of that in the course anyway. But I totally get what you're saying, and I'm like you, like I like to kind of have somewhat of an idea before starting something new. In terms of like any type of literature, I would say anyone who's interested in UX design, The Design of Everyday Things is a great book to read. It's not super like technical. It just makes you think a little bit more broadly about UX and like how it is like sprinkled throughout our lives in many different ways. So that's always a book that I recommend that you read because it is like one of the best for sure.
Okay, terrific. And to add to what you were saying about some of the tools and stuff, I had another question about the software being included. So we are using the software that we're using in this program for the third course is Axier and Figma. They all have free student licenses that are available, so there's no additional cost for any software. Okay, so you don't have to worry about any added cost for software. With this certificate under my belt, what will I be ready for an entry-level position or an intermediate opportunity? All of our programs are really specifically for entry level. Melanie, is there any insight maybe that you could provide in terms of what someone would be ready for if once they finish this program?
Yeah, for sure. I think if it's your first role in UX, like regardless if you took a 5-year program or an accelerated one, like I think you'd always want to start out in something pretty junior just because there's so much that you learn like once you're actually in industry that you just can't be taught period. Like you have to experience that for yourself. And really, I think it's great to start more junior level because it actually gives you an opportunity to like, the expectation of you is not as high, right? So like you can make more mistakes, you can learn a lot more, there's a lot more space for you to grow and to learn and lean on your peers. Whereas if you were going in intermediate, they would expect you to be, just like have a higher standard in terms of you being more autonomous and like knowing things to a greater extent. So I think, I would say like it's, maybe you'll feel like you're intermediate and that's totally fine. And like you can try and apply for those roles. But I do think starting junior does give you an advantage in terms of just like getting to level up your skills and have a little bit more leeway. And the expectation just isn't as high and you would have some more mentorship.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. I did have a few questions again about the format, so I'm going to review it again. So this is the way each course is over an 8-week period, okay? And there is a Saturday or Sunday at the beginning, a 1 day at the beginning, and 1 day live at the end, okay? And in between, you're doing asynchronous online work, okay? So you have live, asynchronous, live again for every single course. Each course is 8 weeks long. And so you are required to log in only twice per course. So once at the beginning and once at the end. Everything in between is asynchronous, okay? And every course is exactly the same. Let me see here. And right now, those live sessions are all online. Clearly, because of COVID, the university is closed. We are conducting everything live online using Zoom. Okay, and we've got about another 5 minutes for questions. I just wanted to get to a few more. For someone with no background, so maybe Melanie, you could help me with this one. For someone with no background in graphic design, project management, would you recommend the program? My background is largely in customer service, as well as some counseling, nonprofit work. Would I leave the UX program under-credentialed for the field? Thanks so much.
Yeah, I think you wouldn't. I think having a background in customer service and counseling is actually really beneficial to UX because a lot of what you do is, like I said, like understanding the problem space and really trying to gain some empathy for the people who are using our products. So yeah, I don't think you would be underqualified at all. You definitely don't need, I think there's a huge misconception actually in this industry that you have to have a really strong visual design or like aesthetic background, which is like not the case at all. If that was what you were interested in, and I think that's more like a visual designer's role than a UX or product designer's role. So yeah, it's definitely not expected of you. If that's something that you want to focus on and you want to get better at, that's totally fine, but it's definitely not the expectation. And yes, I think that's like a really common misconception about UX.
And Melanie, just from your experience, do you think that the industry is primarily contract-based? Like someone said that I've heard some people express that the job market in UX is oversaturated. How difficult is it to find a job in Toronto?
I don't, that's a good question. I mean, I've never worked contract-based. I mean, again, I'm not a researcher or a designer, I'm a researcher, but I have a lot of friends who are designers and they've all worked for companies. I think you can still, what's interesting, and like I was talking to a coworker yesterday, like he worked for Spotify on a contract basis, but like was working for a company, right? So like you could even have instances like that, but I don't think that it's oversaturated if you did want to work for a company. And then if you wanted to freelance, I mean, that's always an option too. It's just you'd have to find those connections, right? But yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities in Toronto. And because of things going online, it just like opens up the opportunities even more so.
Okay, terrific. Let's see. I have over 20 years experience as a graphic designer and I'm in my 40s. Do you think people hiring for a junior UX designer would not want to hire me because of that? Or would they appreciate my design experience?
Yeah, I don't think they would hire you or not hire you based on your previous experience or like your age, maybe, if that's what you were getting at. But yeah, I think it's just dependent on like how you problem solve, I think is a huge thing that people look at when they're looking to hire someone. And also like if you do have other skills that are relevant, like graphic design in your case, depending on where you work too, right? Like some places want you to have a graphic design background because sometimes you'll be working on projects that require that skill. Sometimes you don't need to worry about that because the roles are very defined in certain companies like at Shopify. So yeah, I don't think it is like a deterrent to have the experience that you have. If anything, it might actually give you an advantage to have such a like rich experience in that skill set.
And then we had a few questions before we wrap up. We had a few questions about the average salary, right? So I know that I've looked at Glassdoor before, and Glassdoor indicates that the average salary for UX designers between 60 to 80. So it really depends on where you work as well. Am I right, Melanie?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It's really hard to like define the salary for any role, because it's not just like at certain companies they pay for like impact. It's like, what is the impact that you will bring? So if you have a lot of experience, then you probably will be paid more, just because you have, you know, you're just like more experienced for the role, which makes sense. Some places do, you know, they have like a system that's like, if you're starting out, like this is the bracket that you fall into. If you're intermediate, this is how much you're going to be paid. Or some places are like, you've been here for 5 years, like you get a top up of this amount. So it really depends on the company. But I've seen salaries in UX design go from like 45 to like over 100K. Like just depends on if you're a senior. It's really easy to be in that over 100,000 bracket. Again, this is like based on the experience and the people that I know who are working for pretty well established tech companies. I'm not really sure. I think it changes for if you're working for like a startup or an agency, but then also in terms of compensation, you have to consider some places give you stock options, some places have a bunch of perks, which also gets rolled into your total compensation. So yeah, it really varies a lot, but in an average, I would say like intermediate would be somewhere around like 70 to 80,000 is like, I think a pretty safe estimate.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Melanie. Okay, that brings us to time, everyone. I wanted to take this opportunity to let you know that Mike Kasiba, he's the Continuing Studies Advisor. Please email him if you have any further questions or any other clarification. I also wanted to take the opportunity to thank Melanie. Thank you, Melanie, so much for being on the call today. I really, really appreciate it. This was awesome. This was awesome. And everyone, you will get a copy of this webinar, and for yourself, or share it with anyone that you think might be interested in this program. So stay safe and have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.